Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I designed, where is it? Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm not that prepared it seems, but anyway, I designed this. As you can see, it's all scribbled. I've made lots of changes, and hopefully your pattern looks a little better than this, but it tells you all the floss colors I used, and really just one skein probably of each will do, except for the background. As you can see, once I dye it, how much darker the background is than what the actual color is. If you don't want to dye it and you like your colors brighter, that's entirely up to you. But I do submerge mine and then iron it. This video is not about how to punch needles. There's lots of videos out there how to punch needles, so I'll leave it up to you to watch one of those. And my setting, which is in the pattern, I use a Cameo Ultra Punch needle. This is the medium tip set on number 2. And I use all 6 strands. All that info is in the pattern though. And after I finish punching it, then I submerge the entire thing down into my dyeing liquid. And after that, and my dyeing liquid, it's in some other video, I'm not for sure which one, but anyway, whatever you like to use to stain your stuff. And then I press it with an old iron on the back. I press it, and then you have to be careful because you don't want to pull out your stitches. If you do it on the front, just more or less don't rub back and forth and pull your stitches. Just, you know, go up and down with your iron in a tapping motion. And this isn't completely, you know, squared, but it's good enough. And then on the back, I just fold down the quarters, and I just do a real primitive type stitching to hold everything down, because what I'm going to do is something a little bit different this time. I'm going to actually do some mixed media on this canvas board, and it's not a stretch canvas, as you can see, it's just a canvas board. And I'm going to do some mixed media around the edges, and then I'm going to actually place this on the top with glue. And I use tacky glue for everything that I do with this. Like I said, all this info, what I'm using and all, is in the pattern. The only thing is, you'll see when I'm doing this mixed media stuff, if that's what you want to call it, I guess you just call it mixed media because you're using so many different things. I don't know in advance what I'm going to use. It's just, I just start grabbing stuff. And so it's really hard to state what I'm using. But something else I'm going to do a little different this time is that for you that don't want to just paint your own canvas yourself, I'm going to have included in the pattern where you can, I'm going to scan this finished canvas after I get done, and it will be part of the pattern, and then you can download it and just print it out, and then you can just decoupage it onto your canvas and then just glue this on. So even though your canvas won't actually be painted, from a distance it'll look like it. And I think I'm actually going to paint a 8x10 frame and have it as part of it. Obviously it's not going to be like a pattern, but I will show it in the video, so this could turn out to be kind of a long video. But anyway, some of it I'll speed up because there's really no way to actually just show everything. So let's get started. Enough talk. What I've done at first is that, I mean, I don't really have a plan, but I did cut out these little pieces from an old dictionary. I thought it'd just kind of be neat to go ahead and follow along with the zigzag or triangle or whatever these are. But other than that, I have no plan. So a lot of times things get started and then that's about as far as I go. I'm going to cover the entire canvas board with this Liquitex gesso. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back. I can get the camera off. Maybe. That's fun. Alright, so I put the gesso on, and then I dried it, and now I've just used Mod Podge, matte medium, whatever you want, and I have put these little pieces down, and I laid my piece over it. It doesn't have to be exact, but I just kind of wanted them close to that. As you can see, I just very lightly, because you can still see where my square is, and the reason why is there's really no need for me to have to finish all this in the middle here. I just want to, you know, kind of go so far, because obviously nothing I make is ever completely square. So anyway, and I have my little punched piece out here in front of me, far enough away so that I don't get paint and everything over it, because I'm known to do that. I really don't want anything to be absolutely stark white, but I do want some lightness in the back, and I'm sure the majority of you know more about all these products than I do. I really don't have a clue what they're used for. I do know that gesso is supposed to be so that your paint slides on smoother and that type of thing, but I don't know really how these products are used. So as you're watching me and you think, what the hell is she doing? She doesn't know what she's doing. So just go with it. Whatever happens, happens. So let's get started. I never have a plan. I usually just use a piece of paper or whatever to put some paint on. As you can see by my little piece of paper, I tested some other rabbit stuff, but anyway, you don't care about that. Okay, let's kind of look at colors, and I've got a whole pile of paints over here, and so I'm gonna just start grabbing some, and I've got all kinds of pens sitting here. Some of them I haven't unwrapped. I have some oil pastels that are these Crayola oil pastels, and they're really waxy. I don't know if that's how oil pastels are pretty. I've used them a lot on my other mixed media, but you can see my lovely house coat sleeve, but I usually do everything in my pajamas. So I picked up this other box of oil pastels at Walmart yesterday. So I think I'll just, isn't that lovely? There's actually one missing. Cool. Don't know that I've ever had that happen before, that I bought something and one was gone. Oh well. They were only $5, so I can live with that. I just kind of like to get everything set out here so that when I'm ready I can reach it. So I use a credit card or whatever to kind of smooth this down, because I don't want it to start moving on me. What I think I'll do is I'm going to just open some of this. As you see, I never know what I'm going to use, so it's hard for me to... Oh, that's good. Look at this. This is what happens when you haven't used paint in about 15 years. All the oil comes to the top. Maybe we should get a different color. I probably should go on break and see how bad all these... Oop, this one looks better. I'll just stick my finger in this, and but I'm going to just put some of this paint on here. Doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I just try to keep you... I don't know what that... like a piece of paper or something. I keep a old t-shirt on my lap so I can keep wiping off. Just gonna not know pieces off that stupid thing I unwrapped got on everything or not, but I'm gonna just put some of this color around on this because there's gonna be lots and lots of layers. So just gonna start out and put a little bit of this here and there. Just, you see, working out of the cap. Yes, when the cap's empty, I'll move to a different color. Sorry if I'm mumbling, but I tend to, I guess, just mumble as I'm working. I don't think you can really call this painting. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, this was Apple Barrel Color by Plaid, Light Periwinkle was what that was. I think I'm going to pick up a little bit of pink here. This one is Apple Barrel by Plaid, Light Orchid. That's what this one is. And I'm going to just continue adding some colors. See, I'm going way past the line here, and that's fine because I'm not going to go probably more than 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch past my line, because there's really no reason to, because my little punched map will cover up that. And just adding a little bit of color here and there. Some of it will get covered back up. Now the beautiful thing about this is if I screw it up and I hate it, and just go over it. Won't matter. Won't matter. Because the way I do stuff, nobody cares. Alright, Apple Barrel, again by Plaid, Antique Gold. Just want a little of this on here, just to add. Great, didn't wipe off my finger. So we've got a little bit of pink and gold over here. Wipe that off with my will this turn out? I have no idea. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. You never know. I'm going to just work, quit talking, so that I can speed this up. Well, you'll notice the video recorded, it skipped a little bit. Some things got left off that I was doing, like this around here, maybe a couple of other things. The camera stopped and I didn't realize that. I guess I was out of memory. But anyway, I'm going to kind of hold this up so you can kind of get a close-up view of what's going on so far. And I'll just get on with it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed things back up, and I'm getting close to being done pretty much, but I'm gonna speed this up and really until something's completely Alrighty, this is going to finish it up. This is the very last part of this. I know it seems like it's gone on forever and ever, but this stuff tends to take a while. I know parts of the video got cut off. I wasn't paying close enough to my camera and the memory was used up and it turned off and whatever, but I'm going to hold this up a little bit so you can kind of get a close-up of it. I don't know which way to go, but like I said to the start, lots of layers. This middle section here, remember, that's where the punch needle piece goes. I know when you get the punch needle piece on, you don't actually see some of this, but I was thinking, since part of the pattern is that you get this digital print of the canvas to print off, you can use it for other things. That's why I went ahead and kind of finished this part so that you could like put another picture in here, use it for your journaling. You could print it out on some cardstock. You could actually do some journaling in the center. You could reduce it and print it off smaller and do it as maybe a card and mail it to somebody. I don't know, but anyway, the center's empty because obviously I'm going to cover it up with this, and you know, I spent a lot of time. I didn't like the way that looked, so I covered it up. That's why I said from the beginning, screw something up, you hate it, you can always just start over. So anyway, you're not even going to see that. So now what I'm going to do, since I've got the canvas done, I'm not going to do this on camera because there's no point. I use this clear gel tacky glue by Aleene's, and I'm going to just spread it all over the back, make sure it's very well covered everywhere, and then I'll pick where I want to place it, and then I'll just set a couple of heavy books on top, and that'll be it. I told you I was going to do a video on the frame. This thing's ran on long enough, so I'm not going to do that, but I am going to show you the frame that I did. This is just a cheap frame from a store I've had forever. It is wood. It's kind of, I mean, I've painted over a lot of plastic frames before, but I like the wood ones better. It's an 8x10 frame, so this is going to fit in there perfectly. All I did is that I used my gesso because it was a dark brown frame. I used my gesso and painted over everything first, just kind of a primer. I don't know if that's what gesso is made for, but that's what I did. And then I took a, what color is it here? It was Dolphin Gray by Apple Barrel. Because that kind of went with this, the background. I painted over it, and then I just took random colors that I had used in my canvas, and I just crudely painted on some dots wherever. Then I sanded off a little bit, and I know nothing about shading or anything like that, as you can tell by anything I painted. So what I did is that I just sanded it so some of the dots weren't quite so dark, and then I applied wood stain over it after that was dried. I don't want it to be like shiny, but I think sometimes when things are painted with acrylic paints and just left, I know they kind of have a plastic finish to them, but just so that everything kind of blends better after it's sanded and all. Once again, I know that Mod Podge isn't made as a sealer really for wood, but that's what I use. After I painted this, sanded, stained it some, then I just put a couple of coats of Mod Podge. I just kind of think it finishes out a little better. So this is it. It's finished. I know I've speeded up the video 8 times the rate I was actually working, so you know, a lot of work goes into these. I mean, you kind of get caught up in it and you forget how much time's going by, but I know a lot of people look at how much people are charging for their mixed media canvases and so forth, but it takes a lot of different supplies when you're doing something like this. I mean, you can't just go out and, you know, buy just a couple of things. I mean, you add up the expense of buying all the supplies that it takes to make something like this. You know, It's fun. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to it, which is obviously how I feel about anything that you're creating. No one should ever tell you that you're doing it wrong. I like how juvenile it looks. I think it'd be darling in someone's house. It has more of a whimsical type cottage flair. It probably shows up lighter on the monitor and brighter, which really, when you see it, the colors are more muted. I think it'd be darling in a child's room, really just any place. It's springy, but it doesn't have to be spring or Easter. It says nothing about Easter, and that's why I didn't want to have any carrots or eggs or anything on it. But I'm going to get this glued down on here. I don't know if I mentioned again, but in the pattern, which this will be a pattern, you know, I can't show you step by step how to do this. I mean, as far as colors and all, because there's just no way I can. You saw watching, if you've taken time to watch the video, you've seen how crazy it is. But it will have the paper pattern piece to print off so that you can punch this with the colors I use. The pattern will include a digital print that you can print this out, and then you can simply, if you have a Xyron machine, make a sticker to just place on your canvas, or you can decoupage it on. I never had a Xyron machine up until a year ago, and I used to take all my art prints and decoupage on them onto canvas, and it works out great. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, seeing my process of making this. I hope that if you want to give punch needle a try, I hope this proves to you that punch needle does not have to be just left as a mat. It doesn't have to constantly always be sewn into a pillow or, you know, just put on a random piece of board. This is just shows you that you can take, you know, different types of, I guess that's why it's called mixed media. You know, you have a textile piece and a wood painted piece that shows that you can take a cheap ass ugly frame and, you know, make it cute. Okay, I'm just rambling. Thanks for watching. Bye.